So water soluble vitamins we have done, and then we are doing fat soluble vitamins. Here vitamins are A, D, E, and K. Very simple. So vitamin A, you know, two function. Vitamin D, bone is the function. It's easy. Vitamin D, A, what is the function? One function is vision, other function is differentiation of epithelial cell or other differentiation of cellular growth and differentiation. And then E is prevent a scavenger of free radical, peroxide free radical of lipid, scavenger of free radical, lipid free radical. And then K is clotting. So this is very simple. But vitamin A will the synthesis source a little bit synthesis of vitamin D is important here. Okay, all other vitamins are not synthesized. Or everywhere we have seen synthesis of in water soluble synthesis of vitamin B3. It is also important. Here synthesis of vitamin D, it is also important. Okay, so let's talk about the vitamins. So vitamins A, D, E, K, and then, you know, it is actually absorbed in intestine. That remember, absorbed in intestine through lacteals in chylomicron. Don't forget that in chylomicron it is absorbed. If there is absorption of fat deficiency, then all these vitamins will be deficiency. For example, A beta lipoproteinemia is very good disorder to study vitamin deficiency. Okay, A beta lipoproteinemia. And that is why I discuss about A beta lipoproteinemia many times, because once you know this A beta lipoproteinemia, you will understand all the vitamin deficiencies, fat soluble vitamin deficiency especially. So chylomicron is not formed, chylomicron carries this, and then vitamin deficiency will happen. So bile salts and pancreatic enzymes are required for absorption of, obviously, and then malabsorption syndrome can cause fat soluble. So what is steatorrhea? You can see cystic fibrosis, SPRO, and then A beta lipoproteinemia stored in fat making. So toxicity. We have seen deficiency in water soluble vitamin only. We have seen excess in case of vitamin C and then vitamin B3. That is generally this does not have toxicity, very less toxicity. Chance of toxicity in water soluble vitamin is very less. Only pharmacological dose of vitamin B3 has side effect. It is basically, rather than toxicity, we call it adverse effect. Vitamin C has this stone and high iron, okay, absorption. So these two we have seen. Here we will see all vitamin is related to toxicity, especially which is important. This vitamin A and D toxicity is important. Okay, A and D toxicity is important. E and K, not that important. A and D is important toxicity. So remember, add toxicity. Okay, so let's see this vitamin B. Vitamin A is found in, actually we take in our diet in two forms. Actually, three forms of vitamin A are there. Okay, this OL means OH group, and AL means CHO, and OIC you can say retinoic acid. There will be COOH. All these three forms. Now this OL is not functional form. This is actually transport form. Vitamin A is transported from one place to other place in this form, retinol form. Okay, a retinol form is functional form for what? Vision. Retinol, you can see ester of retinol is absorbed from intestine and transported and stored as sterile storage form. This is also transport and storage. Don't forget, this is a question asked question. So stored and transport form is retinol. And this retinol is vision, rhodopsin, part of rhodopsin, photoreceptor, rhodopsin photoreceptor. So retinoic acid is oxidized from irreversible oxidation of retinol, and this is actually required for what? This is required for cell differentiation. It is basically a hormone. It is basically a hormone, not vitamins. This can play as vitamin. This is playing role as hormone, and this is also not part of enzyme. Vitamin A is not part of enzyme. It is part of receptor, and here it is playing role of receptor, nuclear receptor. Okay, retinoic RAR, and it will bind to DNA. Retinoic acid response element bind and regulate transcription. So it has a role in differentiation during embryogenesis and epithelial differentiation in adult. So remember that beta carotene, that is found in carrot, you can in high quantity, from diet enzymatically converted into cis retinal, which undergo photoisomerization transretinal when light is actually beta carotene is actually dimer of this retinal. Okay, to dimer, you can see this is carotene, another this carotene. Carotene has got this one ring and then one side chain, so it will be bond here. So digestion will break this, and this will be converted into monomer of retinal. Okay. So you can see the everything here. You can see the most important thing here. It is okay. We have seen three functions. One is retinol. You know, retinol is transport and storage form. Retinol is vision, and retinoic acid is what? Differentiation. But this beta carotene and this vitamin A has additional function of antioxidant. Okay, because it has got double bond, so it has capacity to eat free radical and save your membrane and other part of body. So it is antioxidant also, and constitute visual pigment rhodopsin, part of rhodopsin, essential for normal differentiation. I have already told you this, and of epithelial cells into specialized tissue. Okay, here pancreatic cell, mucus secreting cells, the vitamin A is required. Prevent squamous metaplasia, because this is required for, if it is absent, so the metaplasia can happen because of deficiency. So that is how it prevents metaplasia, used to treat measles. So this measles treatment is also measles and acute myelocytic leukemia, AML, promyelocytic APL. This is used in treatment of this too. Okay, so treatment part is also important. Vitamin normally required, it is also used for treatment of certain disorder. Now, night blindness, normal deficiency, you can see deficiency of retinal, any vitamin deficiency happens, retinal will also be deficient, and retinoic acid will also be deficient, and it is related to retinal, and that is why I have shown it retinal. Retinal night blindness, okay, dry scaly skin is because of dry scaly, and skin metaplasia, these are because of retinoic acid deficiency. So this present night blindness, and then your dry eye, beta spot, we will talk corneal degeneration, this happens because of retinoic acid. Okay, the function is related to retinoic acid, and you know this retinoic acid can be synthesized from retinol. That is why vitamin A deficiency will incapacitate all this. Okay, acute toxicity happens. So I will talk about acute toxicity. Acute toxicity is related to intracranial pressure, high ICP, and I have described high ICP in urea cycle. High ICP. So acute toxicity related to high intracranial pressure related presentation. You can see nausea, vomiting, vertigo, blood vision. Okay, high increased intracranial pressure, and this is acute toxicity. And chronic toxicity is related to similar type of, you have seen dermatological presentation, hepatotoxicity, alopecia, dry skin, hepatotoxicity, enlargement of hepatotoxicity, and hepatomegaly, arthralgia, idiopathic intracranial hypertension. So intracranial hypertension also will be produced because of chronic, slowly, but acute will cause acute toxicity. And teratogenic effect can happen in mother consuming this vitamin. So teratogenic effect will cause cleft palate, cardiac abnormality. These are the pregnancy, negative pregnancy. These two forms of conception are required before isotretinoid. So isotretinoid actually is provided, it is required for treatment of acne. Okay, so this treatment of acne, isotretinoid is given, but you have to test this pregnancy while treating female. If only negative pregnancy test is present, then you give isotretinoin. Otherwise, don't give isotretinoin. Okay, because it is teratogenic. So this is, you have seen treatments are here. Squamous treatments here, measles, and then leukemia, and then acne. Acne, specific type of vitamin A, tretinoin, and you don't give tretinoin in pregnant women because it is teratogenic. Okay. So you can see this is, so we have already summarized all the important things about this. So now we will see, this is vitamin A. We will describe this. Vitamin A, I told you this is, I actually took, this is retinoic acid, make it retinoic acid and retinoic acid like this. So retinoic, pull this, remove this O, this side, and make this like this. So retinoic acid is like this. So you can easily remember retinoic acid. And you can side chains, many A's are there. So you can remember this vitamin A. There is one A, that is cycle, and then there are many A like this. So this A, and you know, these are very isoprene units. Isoprene units that we have studied the synthesis of isoprene unit in cholesterol synthesis. These are isoprene unit, and that this unit makes them fat soluble. Fat soluble. Ring is also fat soluble, and this isoprene is fat soluble. So many isoprene units are there. So 2, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 carbon is attached on this ring. And you can see this is how 11 here, this position, actually because of light, cis transmutation happens. Cis transformation, not mutation, transformation happens. So cis, generally it is in cis form, okay, 11 cis form. But what will happen when light forms, this will become trans like this. If it becomes trans, then signal is transduced. So cis trans conformation happens at this double bond, at this double bond in aldehyde. This is in retinol. Cis transformation happens here at 11th position. So this is the significance of this. Retinoic acid is this. And retinoic acid, I have told you, it is a nuclear receptor, you can see. Retinoic acid, nuclear, it binds nuclear this here, and by binding, it will regulate gene. And you can say this converts into retinol, and retinol can convert into each other. Reversible conversion. But this retinoic acid is permanent conversion. Okay. Retinoic acid conversion into retinoic acid is permanent. This can convert into each other. Acid is permanent, no reverse back. Okay. So, and this is functioning as hormone. Remember this very important concept. This is performing as hormone. So we will, I think we should stop here. So this is right. Okay, we will see this. You can see all this xerophthalmia changes. These are first dryness. This is because of vitamin A deficiency, and which deficiency function? Vitamin A, which function? Which functional deficiency? Retinoic acid functional deficiency, hormonal functional differentiation function deficiency. And this is because of photoreceptor function deficiency. So we have already done vitamin A. You know the vitamin A related problem. The vitamin function of vitamin A, I told you 3 forms of vitamin A are there. One is retinol, and retinoic acid. So you know this is storage and transport form. Then this is retinal is pigment, visual pigment, and then retinoic acid. Retinoic acid is actually differentiation of epithelium, and actually it is also required in embryonic development. So it is, this retinoic acid is behaving like hormone. So this is reversible conversion happens with retinol, but when retinol converts into this, it is irreversible. Okay. So toxicity. So we did this teratogenicity. This is acne treatment. In acne treatment, you should actually check the patient should be pregnancy negative. Pregnancy should not be there in female patient. If you are going to treat for the treat the acne of the patient with this tretinoin, okay, because this is teratogenic. What is teratogenicity? Cleft palate and this cardiac abnormality. So this acute and chronic toxicity we have seen. So chronic toxicity. So I told you acute toxicity is because of, you can see sudden increase in intracranial pressure will cause nausea, vomiting, vertigo, blood vision, slurred speech, blood vision. This type of presentation you will see in acute. And chronic presentation, slowly it happens. So first it appears in skin and then ultimately liver and then involvement of brain. You can see liver, joint and then involvement of brain with intracranial pressure. So we have seen this. So deficiency we have seen. You can go and study also yourself. So it is night blindness. And then second group of presentation, that is because of related to retinoic acid or xerophthalmia, okay, drying of that conjunctiva because of lack of differentiation of conjunctiva epithelium. Squamous metaplasia, Bitort's, this is represented by Bitot spot, and then this will lead to this and this will lead to, actually you can see what is first xerophthalmia will lead to xerosis. This is xerophthalmia, simple drying like of thing. So you can see it is because of lack of it is deficiency of retinoic acid, and it will look like this xerophthalmia. So xerophthalmia will lead to this Bitot spot. So hyperkeratinization type of thing. So Bitot spot is basically metaplasia. And after this cornea involvement of first involvement of conjunctiva up to this. Okay. So this can be reversible. But once cornea is involved, xerosis happens in cornea and corneal ulceration. So it will lead to permanent blindness. So this is how it progresses. First conjunctiva involvement of conjunctiva, xerophthalmia, xerosis and Bitot spot, and then it leads to corneal xerosis and ulceration. This is how it progresses. You can see from the picture, this will progress to this will progress to this, and this will progress to this and permanent blindness. Okay. So this is the presentation of retinoic acid related presentation. Night blindness is related to retinal. Okay. So we have seen this excess, as we have seen excess lead to especially consumption of this liver of the wild game liver. And then these are the chronic presentation, and you know the acute presentation is generally related to increased intracranial presentation. But when patient takes the continuous vitamin A, so that will happen first, this is dermatological presentation, bone joint pain will be there, dermatological presentation will be there, and then liver involvement, and then this intracranial pressure also. So these are the presentation. This intracranial presentation we have already done. What happens in intracranial presentation, manifestation of intracranial pressure. So go and see that manifestation of intracranial pressure. So this is related to papilledema. Papilledema is actually because of intracranial pressure. If you see optic disc, it is swollen. Okay, so this is called papilledema. So this is the, remember what you AXS is ICP, intracranial pressure, along with dermatological hepatic manifestation and joint. So vitamin D presentation, everything about vitamin D is important. So vitamin D2 is called ergosterol, and vitamin D3 is called cholecalciferol. Vitamin D3, cholecalciferol, name of cholecalciferol is D3. So So type of D, D1, D2, D2, D2 is, this is plant derived and this is animal, consumed from animal. Ergocalciferol is actually derived from ergosterol, not cholesterol, and this is called ergocalciferol. And this is derived from plant. This is called animal. This is called cholecalciferol, derived from cholesterol. You can see cholesterol. That is why this is called calciferol, cholecalciferol. This is ergocalciferol. So you can understand D2 and D3 ingested from plant, and it is a pharmacological agent, used as pharmacological agent, consumed from animal, milk and fish. So this is, you can see your first aid has everything mentioned here. D3 is cholecalciferol, D2 is ergocalciferol ingested from plant, that we have done now. So skin, it can be synthesized out in our skin, vitamin D in our skin, where stratum basal. Okay, it is synthesized in stratum basal by exposure to skin. Ingestion of fish, milk, so non-veg diet, animal source. So cholecalciferol derived from animal, and then ergocalciferol is plant source. So both converted to, so this is active form of vitamin D. 125. Remember, do 2 later. This one is 1, this is 25. If you remember this 2, that will be done. So D3 already have one hydroxyl group. As you know, cholesterol, we have gone through cholesterol. Cholesterol, this is cholesterol nucleus. Okay, this is cholesterol nucleus. Actually, breaking of cholesterol nucleus here will form this vitamin D. Anyway, the features of cholesterol nucleus will be there. So there will be side chain here. There is already one OH group. Okay, so this D2 and D3 already has one OH group. Now, so this converted into, first addition is 25 OH, then 1 OH. This become triol. So that is why this is called calcitriol. Cholecalciferol. This is 125 cholecalciferol, means it is a calcitriol because it has got OH group at 1 position, 25 position, and then already existed one OH group at 3rd position. So actually OH group is present at 1, 3 and 25 position. So this becomes calcitriol. We will talk about the synthesis, hydroxylation reaction. This hydroxylation occurs in liver, and this at liver it is stored in this form inside liver. And then when we require vitamin D, so this vitamin D is converted into active vitamin D 125, and this is an active form. So we will talk about this. And I told you to remember this 3D. 3D, what is this 3D? Is like, first is 3D function. It causes absorption in duodenum. So this is 1D, increased absorption in duodenum, both of calcium and phosphorus. When we talk about parathyroid hormone, what does it do? It causes calcium retention, phosphorus excretion from kidney. But this vitamin D will does not do any biasness. It absorbs both calcium and phosphorus. And then from this kidney renal tubule in DCT, it causes reabsorption in DCT. Okay, in DCT it causes reabsorption, second D. And this third D is, it causes demineralization, bone resorption. Can you see? The immediate action is bone resorption. This is very important. Demineralization. You might have thinking that this vitamin D is very good for bone, but it is causing demineralization. The opposite effect, you can see this demineralization. So it is causing demineralization directly in bone, because in bone, this vitamin D activates osteoclasts. Okay, osteoclasts. Vitamin D activates osteoclasts. But the overall function, you can see, if you calculate whole function absorption plus absorption, absorption plus bone demineralization. So cumulative effect is increased mineralization. Okay, so remember this thing. Cumulative effect is increased mineralization, but the immediate effect is bone demineralization. This is very important. So regulation you can remember here. So PTH regulates this. Okay, PTH activate vitamin D. PTH activate conversion of 25 D3 into 125. So, and when this 25 D3 convert into 125 D3 in kidney has this enzyme 1 alpha hydroxylase, and this is activated by PTH. And you know, when this is very high, feedback inhibition. So this is the regulation, you can see feedback inhibition of its own product. What does it do? It causes this, actually vitamin D causes absorption of both. This causes absorption of both calcium and phosphorus. Absorption, reabsorption of both. Whereas PTH has opposite role. It causes absorption of this and excretion of this. Okay? No. So ricket in children, when vitamin D deficiency happens, it will cause rickets in children. Rickets, we will talk about the symptoms, and caused by malabsorption and lack of sun exposure, poor diet, chronic kidney disease, advanced liver diseases. These are the causes, because liver and kidney both are required for synthesis of vitamin D. So both kidney disease and liver disease, both can cause vitamin D deficiency, also in adult. In adult also, so in kidney disease also, in liver disease also, supplement vitamin D. Okay, because vitamin D cannot be produced in such patients. Give oral vitamin D to breastfeeding infant. This is a very important point. So because breast is deficient, breast does not have sufficient vitamin D, so try to supplement vitamin D to breastfed infant. So otherwise, breastfed infant can have this rickets. Deficiency is exacerbated by pigmented skin. Why? Pigmented skin actually will absorb UV light. Melanin will actually absorb this. Melanin absorb, and then because of absorption of blue UV light by melanin, UV light is not left for synthesis. So actually, dark pigmented people synthesizes less vitamin D. Okay, dark pigmented people synthesizes less. So dark pigmented people has to stay for more period in sun to synthesize same amount of vitamin D. Hypercalcemia, excess will cause hypercalcemia, hyperuricemia. Hypercalcemia, hypercalciuria, loss of appetite, stupor means lack of consciousness, and it is seen in granulomatous disease, very important granulomatous disease. So we will talk about this granulomatous disease. Okay, so this is granulomatous disease. We will talk a little bit. So remember this, excess is granulomatous disease, and where macrophage activity, we will talk about this. So this is vitamin D, you can synthesis ergosterol. It can be synthesized from ergosterol or cholesterol. Which cholesterol? 7-dehydrocholesterol. Normally cholesterol has only one double bond here. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 position. But this 7 is 6 and 7. The 7-dehydrocholesterol. It can be synthesized from cholesterol also. It can be synthesized from cholesterol, or it is the actually molecule that is before cholesterol. So during synthesis of cholesterol, it is the second last step. Okay, it is second last step, and it can be synthesized from cholesterol also. So it's both way. So 7-dehydrocholesterol converts into this. What happens? This UV light here, UV light, as I have told you, it is required to break the bond. UV light breaks the bond. The first step happens in skin, and in skin, this UV light breaks the bond here. Okay, you can see it breaks the bond here. Okay, so UV light is important for this. Actually, very high amount of UV light is present during midday, and don't take it as Caribbean. So it is, this is recommendation for European country generally. Here, UV light you will get from the morning only. So you don't have to wait till midday. You can see the first step, cholecalciferol. The first step after this has been converted into this cholecalciferol, cholesterol 7-dehydrocholesterol has converted into cholecalciferol because of UV light in skin. So first reaction is skin. Remember, first is skin. And then second is liver. So skin, then liver. So what will happen? This cholecalciferol will be hydroxylated at 25 position. Here we can calculate easily the position: 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, okay, 13, 14, so 12, 13, 14, 15, it should be 17, 18, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, sorry, 10. Then, anyway, it is 17. Okay, this is 18 and this is 19. Okay, 17, then 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, and this is 25. So hydroxylation will happen on the side chain, not on the main chain. Okay, second hydroxylation will happen at the side chain. This is 25 position. Then last hydroxylation will happen at ring. So remember that. So this 25 hydroxylation happens in liver. Okay, and then it goes into kidney, and in kidney this 25 is converted into 125, and 25, this cholecalciferol is converted into cholecalciferol converted into 25 hydroxylase in liver, and it is also stored in liver. This form is stored in liver. So storage form you need to understand. In vitamin A also you need to understand what is the storage form and actually transportation form, transportable form. So in vitamin A, retinol, here 25 cholecalciferol. 25 cholecalciferol convert into 125 dihydroxycholecalciferol. Okay, and this is an active compound. It will cause absorption of calcium in intestine, and it will cause reabsorption of calcium in distal convoluted tubule, and it will cause demineralization of bone, not mineralization. The combined effect is mineralization. So this enzyme is activated by, kidney enzyme is activated by parathyroid hormone, and this parathyroid hormone is activated by, actually, when calcium is low. Okay, when calcium is low. When calcium is high, it will be inhibited. So when calcium is low, parathyroid hormone is activated, and this will actually activate this. And you know the vitamin D, actually it inhibits its own synthesis. So you need to know the synthesis of metabolism, and then after synthesis, the regulation also of vitamin D. So synthesis first in skin, second in liver, and third in kidney. Very, very easy. You can see this second liver hepatic enzyme is nothing but microsomal enzyme, 450 system. And I have already told you 450 is for hydroxylation. So hydroxylation is done by 450 system. And this last reaction, you can see it is under regulation. This is rate limiting step. Okay, so you can see 1-alpha hydroxylase upregulated. We have already done this by PTH. Decrease in renal function may result in vitamin D deficiency. This is very important. Okay, so this is because of kidney failure, or maybe because of liver failure also, vitamin D deficiency can happen. Mark this point. And then this, because of this kidney damage, pseudo vitamin D deficiency rickets. So it is because of, it will cause, actually vitamin deficiency is because of renal failure. It is not true vitamin D deficiency. Vitamin D 25 may be there. 25 cholecalciferol will be there. 25 hydroxycholecalciferol may be there. But this is not getting active in calcitriol. This is not activated in calcitriol. And therefore, this is deficient. So there is pseudo vitamin D deficiency rickets. So this is because of, you can see, deficiency of this, or this is genetic condition. You can see where alpha 1 hydroxylase is deficient. In that condition, it will cause, it is not getting activated. In kidney damage also, it will not get activated. So pseudo vitamin D rickets in children. So this happens because of this enzyme deficiency. Must supplement in such condition, must supplement, yes, obviously must supplement by active vitamin, calcitriol. So this is a storage form and this is active form. So this is vitamin, basically a hormone. It will bind to its own receptor, vitamin D receptor. Actually, all nuclear receptor bind with the DNA in its dimer form, and it will associate with its partner, that is called retinoid X receptor. Okay, not with other vitamin D receptor, retinoid X receptor, and that is how it regulates gene. And either it activates somewhere, it activates transcription, or it inhibits transcription activation some other places. So it depends on this gene. So this is basically a hormone. So vitamin D function, 3D I told you to remember, you can understand. Distal convoluted tubules, the duodenum absorption, distal convoluted tubule, reabsorption, and then destroy bone. Okay, destroy bone or demineralization. So this is a drug, you can see. This drug, bisphosphonate, actually sometimes given for osteoporosis. What does it do? It inhibits activation of osteoclasts and decrease the bone resorption. So this is a drug that will inhibit bone destruction. And actually combined effect of vitamin D is not bone destruction, bone formation. So this bisphosphonate, these are the drug, you can see. Ibandronate, all dronate drugs are this bisphosphonate. Remodeling of bone. So you can study. So remodeling of bone, you can study yourself. So osteoclasts have vitamin D. I have already told you, vitamin D reception. That is why vitamin D causes resorption. So, and binding stimulates release of alkaline phosphatase. In children, remodeling is very fast. That is why in children you will see alkaline phosphatase in blood, very high alkaline phosphatase. So this is also a significance, because of remodeling, alkaline phosphatase rises. So alkaline phosphatase, so this is the function of alkaline phosphatase. Induces mineralization. Cause is low sun exposure, hepatic or renal function decrease, fat malabsorption, for example, A beta lipoproteinemia, and then induction of this by other enzyme, and that will degrade vitamin D precursor. So some drugs are there that will induce 4,550 system. You will study induce. For example, I will give you one example, phenytoin. This is a drug that will induce cytochrome 450 system. Rickets in children and osteomalacia in adult and hypo. So low calcium will cause tetany. This is the feature of low calcium. So children Childhood diseases characterized by impeded growth, soft, weak, deformed bones, bow legs. It is very characteristic by bow legs. Osteomyelitis, softening of bone, bending of spine, bowing of legs, proximal muscle weakness, bone fragility. Let's see this. These are the features of, you can see, rickets. So you can see in the skull has many problems. Craniotapes, soft skull here around around occipital region, parietal region. So this is many types of presentation you will see in chest. So you can study yourself. Pex carinatum. Carinatum is different from excavatum. In what disorder we studied, pex excavatum.
Marfan syndrome.
Very good, thank you. Marfan syndrome, pex excavatum. Here you see carinatum. So differentiate between that. Okay, Rachiti rosary, Harrison sulcus. You can see Harrison sulcus will be depression here. Rachiti rosary around this, around the around here, cartilage, this condral cartilage, around coronal cartilage. There will be depression type. This is Rachiti rosary, and bowing of leg. Everything is swelling of knee. These are the presentation you will see in rickets. So this is the presentation of hypocalcemia. When you tap here, so there will be like this presentation. This is a different type of presentation. This is called Vostok sign. How you pronounce it is CHVOST. Vostok sign. I call it Vostok sign. I remembered like that. So just remember this. This is because of facial nerve. When you tap facial nerve, because of deficiency of calcium, this nerve become hypersensitive. When you tap, it will cause muscle contraction of this, your oral muscle. And because of this, there will be contraction. So this is Vostok sign. Trousseau sign. This is Trousseau sign. This Trousseau sign happens in carpopedal spasm. So this is also because of low calcium, nerve become hyperexcitable. So when you put cuff, so there will be tetany type of presentation. You can see the after putting cuff for sometimes there is carpopedal spasm. It is elicited in like 3 minutes. So you remember this Trousseau, and this is because of low calcium. Vitamin D deficiency present with low calcium. Vitamin D deficiency present with low calcium. Vitamin D excess present with high calcium. Very easy. High calcium. Whatever presentation there is in high calcium is presentation of excess vitamin D. So vitamin D deficiency present with calcium deficiency, and vitamin D excess present with hypercalcemia. So I will tell you what will happen here in excess. Excess is related to, you can see, I'll give you a rhyming word. So there is a rhyme. It's called stones, bones, thrones, groans, psychiatric overtones. Okay, so you can say this. Stones means kidney stone, renal stone can be there because of there will be, can be renal stone. Okay, and bones, bone pain, because of this bone pain can be there. And then thrones, polyuria. Thrones means polyuria, and because of polyuria there will be polydipsia, frequent drinking, and nocturia. So these are the related to this thrones, repeated urination. And then groans is abdominal pain. Abdominal pain can be there. Abdominal pain, lack of appetite. Then psychiatric overtone is related to, you can see here, psychiatric overtone. So deficiency, you can see loss of appetite and stupor, lack of consciousness, or other psychiatric affection disorder type of thing you will see, irritability, and those type of presentation seen in these patients. Patient become irritable. So these are, you can easily remember, stones, bones, thrones, groans, and psychiatric overtones in vitamin D excess. So excess vitamin A and vitamin D excess is more important. If you remember these two steps, excess, these are actually asked in exam. So tocopherol is very easy. You don't have to remember anything in tocopherol. Just to go through once yourself and remember only one thing. This deficiency is related to hemolytic anemia, because again the same reason that we have studied in G6PD deficiency. Here is peroxide free peroxide free radical. Any free radical will damage this lipid, and vitamin E will actually eat this free radical. If vitamin E is not there, it will damage this membrane, and because of this damage there will be hemolytic anemia. So fragility of erythrocyte is very important. Remember this. This is the most important thing. Okay, so deficiency happens in A beta lipoproteinemia. All fat soluble vitamin deficiency you will see in A beta lipoproteinemia. Okay. Excess is both vitamin E and K act synergistically in condition of excess. Decrease in vitamin K dependent clotting factor. So we will see it will both will combinedly cause hemorrhage. Actually, we will see this. So actually effect is also hemorrhage. And excess is not that important. Only one point is important here. Vitamin E is related to fragility of erythrocyte. That's it. You have to remember. So it is, you can see here, antioxidant, and then so protect RBC membranes, hemolytic anemia. Okay, and then acanthocytosis we have seen. A beta lipoproteinemia is related to acanthocytosis. So this is also because of this vitamin E. So RBC will have like this. RBC will have this spine is RBC. RBC will have spines. Okay, this is acanthocytosis. So muscle weakness, demyelination of posterior column, you can say this because of all vitamin E deficiency is related. In A beta lipoproteinemia, this first aid has vitamin E is given. All the credit for pathogenesis is given to vitamin E, because the treatment in A beta lipoproteinemia means high vitamin E is the treatment. Give high vitamin E, avoid those fatty acids. So this is the treatment in A beta lipoproteinemia. And excess will cause risk in enterocolitis in infants. So high dose supplementation may alter metabolism of vitamin K, enhanced anticoagulant effect of warfarin. So this, because of excess vitamin D, it can cause hemorrhage. It will increase the prevalence of hemorrhage. So because this vitamin E present associated with other function also, so deficiency can be associated with, you can see, demyelination. If it is helpful in myelination, so because of deficiency it will related to this, similar to vitamin B12. Without megaloblastic anemia, hypersegmentation, and this neurological manifestation can appear along with hemolytic anemia. So this is the function of vitamin E. You can see this vitamin E actually, when peroxidation happens to the polyunsaturated fatty acid, this is a scavenging effect. Eat this free radical, take this free radical with it, and then it change this free radical carrying this polyunsaturated fatty acid, oxidized peroxidose means free radical PUFA into normal polyunsaturated fatty acid. So this is how this tocopherol or vitamin E protects membrane. This is the one of the most important thing of the tocopherol. So this is the structure of tocopherol. You can see all have ring. This is also have ring. This is the most important thing. Now vitamin K. The most important thing about vitamin K is this: gamma carboxylation of glutamic acid residue, and this is responsible for clotting. So what is this gamma carboxylation? We have already done. This is protein. Protein has got this glutamic acid. NC is present inside protein. Okay, other C is also attached here. So NCC is part of protein of glutamate residue. What will be here after that? There will be this 5 carbon compound, 2 carbon is there, and then there is 1 carbon here, and this 1, 2, 3, 4, and there will be this carbon. Okay, this is carboxy group, last carboxy group. This is carbonyl that will form peptide bond. This amino will form peptide bond with other amino acid. So this is, you can see, this is alpha carbon, this is beta carbon, this is gamma carbon. With gamma carbon, this vitamin K actually adds CO2 here. Adds CO2 here. On the amino acid residue, see why we call amino acid residue? Because amino acid is present in the clotting factor, and that is why we call it amino acid residue. So it adds gamma carboxy group at gamma position, alpha, beta, gamma. And that is why this is called gamma carboxylation of glutamic acid residue. So this is how you can see one negative charge here, and here is also one negative charge. So this is how, what is happening, this in the protein, there is creation of such many, this negative charge, there is creation of this negative charge, 2 negative charge. So this negative charge actually will bind to calcium. Actually, this gamma carboxylation enabling this protein for binding to clotting factors, binding with the calcium. You know, calcium is the 4th clotting factor. Fourth clotting factor. And this calcium binding is enabled by this gamma carboxylation. Therefore, if vitamin K is not there, this clotting factor will not be able to interact with calcium. And I will tell you what is the significance of calcium interaction. What is the significance of calcium interaction? At the last, when you study clotting, so intrinsic factor 12 will activate, activated 12 will activate, 12 will activate 11, then 11 activated 11 will activate 9, and this 9 will activate 10. Okay, so this is intrinsic pathway, and this 10 will cause activation of 2, and then it will cause fibrinogen formation. So this is intrinsic. Extrinsic pathway is 7. Factor 7 will activate this. So if you can see here, you can see these clotting factors. These are the clotting factors that actually are activated by vitamin K by addition of gamma carboxylation are this. You very easy to remember. 2 plus 7 is equal to 9, 10. 2, 7, 9, 10. 2, 7, 9, 10. Remember, 2, 7, 9, 10. And then protein C and protein S. So these are anticoagulant. Let's not talk more about it right now. Let's focus on this here. So what are, after, you can see this 2 is here, 7 is here, 9 is and 10. So all are surrounded by this, each other. So what does this do? Actually, this clotting factor will interact with membrane. Okay, membrane, and interact on the membrane, and after interacting, because of this calcium binding property, they come to each other. Because of calcium, this membrane binding property. So 10 and 9 come closer to 10, and then 9 will actually activate 10, and 7 will come closer through extrinsic pathway. 7 will activate 10, and then 10, the 2 will also bind to other calcium, and then it will activate 2. So that is the significance of calcium binding. Okay, calcium make this protein come together. So this is the significance of calcium binding. So remember, calcium 2 plus 7, 9 and 10. These all clotting factor require calcium, and calcium binding is enabled by vitamin K through gamma carboxylation. Okay, so this must be activated by epoxide reductase enzyme. So we will see this, what is epoxide, and this epoxide reductase enzyme is inhibited by warfarin. This is also an important part of vitamin K. So you can see this is vitamin K dependent. This is reaction. You can see carboxylation happening here on gamma position. Carboxylation is happening from this. This is reaction. So vitamin K is utilized. Let's not, this is vitamin K metabolism. Let's consider them whole as vitamin K for the time being. So vitamin K is utilized for carboxylation. That's it. So now vitamin K undergo transformation. Okay. So vitamin K, what will happen? Vitamin K first will be oxidized. Because of this, the vitamin K will be oxidized to epoxide. And this will be actually recycled. Vitamin K has to be recycled to this through the reductase enzyme. Okay, epoxide reductase. And this epoxide reductase, actually, you know, vitamin K reductase, epoxide reductase, and then vitamin K reductase. You can see here, this epoxide reductase is inhibited by warfarin, and other such warfarin-like compound is also dicomarol. So they inhibit this enzyme. By inhibiting, what will happen? Recycling of this vitamin K is prevented. And what will happen if it is not recycled? So ultimately there will be deficiency of this vitamin K. That is a quinone. I told you the quinone ring, hydroquinone. Remember this. Hydroquinone ring is there. I told you what is catechol. This is hydroquinone ring. This will convert into quinone and then epoxide quinone. So this is vitamin K, gamma carboxylation. Gamma carboxylation is inhibited by warfarin. That is why warfarin is an anticoagulant, and it is used as drug in cardiovascular disease. So to prevent clotting, myocardial in case of myocardial infarction, in case of angina. So what is function? You know, gamma carboxylation of glutamic residue. So we have done this. And synthesized by, very important, intestinal phenol. Only with that vitamin that is synthesized by intestinal flora. Most important vitamin that is synthesized by intestinal flora. Deficiency, neonatal. Deficiency happens in neonate because neonate gut is sterile. Okay. So deficiency can cause in neonatal hemorrhage. And you know what is PT? APTT, prothrombin time. Prothrombin time. Prothrombin time. This is a very important test. Time is, it is significance of presence of prothrombin. We have done in hepatic function test. So prothrombin. Prothrombin time, actually it is a factor 2. We know factor 2. Factor 2. And then second is activated thromboplastin time. So APTT. APTT. I will give you, just remember this APTT is related to inherent disease generally. Inherited blood clotting disorder. Blood clotting disorder. And this is related to PT is related to acquired disease. More with acquired. So what will happen? I will tell you, when vitamin K is deficient, the first thing to increase will be PT. PT will increase first. Okay. Then later this APTT will increase. In the beginning, APTT may be normal, but after APT only APTT will increase, because this vitamin K is influencing both pathway. You can see 2, 7, 9 and 10. This 9 actually 9, and then 9 is part of intrinsic pathway. 7 is extrinsic pathway, and these are common pathway. Common pathway. So vitamin K is influencing both pathway as well as common pathway. So both will increase, but PT will increase first. But normal bleeding time. So bleeding time is normal, but PT and APTT increase in neonatal hemorrhage. So this is because of vitamin K deficiency. Bleeding is related to platelet bleeding time. Bleeding time is related to platelet function. And clotting time is related to, and this is actually by a marker of clotting time. Clotting time is related to this vitamin K. So bleeding time, that is why bleeding time will be normal, but clotting time is increased. With clotting time, PT, APT will increase. So because intestine is sterile, and therefore the after baby is born, baby has to be given with vitamin K injection. This is the reason, because it takes about 6 months for bacteria to colonize the gut of baby. So give vitamin K injection at birth to prevent hemorrhage during hemorrhagic disease in newborn. Did you understand vitamin K?
Yes, sir.
So this is the function of vitamin K. Vitamin K is integral part of bleeding system, this coagulation cascade. You need to understand coagulation cascade. You need to understand the test of coagulation. There are two types of test. First is clotting test. Another is bleeding. You have to understand bleeding test will be normal in vitamin K deficiency. The clotting parameter will be affected. So you can go, this is elaborated from neonatal. Neonates have sterile intestine, are unable to synthesize. Therefore, give vitamin K injection after birth. Prolonged use of broad spectrum antibiotic can also kill the bacteria, and because of killing of bacteria, vitamin K will be deficient. Hepatic function, low hepatic function can lower vitamin K activation. This. So when once consumed, it has to be reactivated. So it will reduce the activation. So PT is first increased. Okay. Initially, it will be normal. And that is why I told you. So acquired, this is vitamin K deficiency will be acquired. So this is a rule. Acquired will have PT first affected. Later APTT can affect that, but PT first. Inherited what? APTT. So you know the inherited, what are inherited disorder? Hemolyte, what is that? I forgot the name of that. Christmas factor 8 deficiency, factor 9 deficiency. You know that? Anybody remember?
No, sir.
This is very hemarthrosis, this type of presentation are there. Go and find out this disorder, okay? Factor 8 deficiencies. What is factor 8 deficiency and factor 9 deficiency? Go and find out. Okay? These are very important disorder. I have a problem. I generally forget name, and that is why I forgot name right now. So increased APTT, but factor 7 has shortest lifetime. Okay, that is the reason. So that is the reason PT actually has first, PT decreases first, then APTT. So you can see excess is rare. So excess is also not important. Okay, excess is rare. You can see this zinc deficiency. I have already explained in this time. Absorption of vitamins and minerals. I told you zinc deficiency. Acrodermatitis enteropathica. So this is also present in first aid. That is why I have to say. Okay.